Album of the Week, episode 32. Hey guys, this week we're talking about Greg Duncan, his album Chicago Barcelona Connections. So this CD was a gift by one of my professors, gave it to me. He was getting rid of a lot of his CDs and he was handing them out to a few of his students, and he decided to give me this one. I don't know why. I don't think there was a lot of thought put into it. I think he was just trying to get rid of CDs and he thought I might like it. So thank you, Matt Bookman, for giving me this CD first of all. Greg Duncan is a trumpet player based out of Chicago, Illinois, and he actually put this album together. He got a grant, let me read here, from the Illinois Arts Council. So that's how this album was funded. It was recorded on March 20th, 23rd, and May 8th of 2012 at Transient Sound Recording Studio in Chicago. And yeah, so you can check more about Greg Duncan below. I'll link his website. On this album we have, of course, Greg Duncan on trumpet and flugelhorn. We have Corbin Andrick on both alto and tenor saxophone. Stuart Mindeman on piano and Fender Rhodes. John Dietmeyer on drums and other percussion. Patrick Mulcahy, I'm sorry, on acoustic and electric bass. Javier Zuoma on cajon. Patricia Ortega on vocals, and both Patricia Ortega and Greg Duncan on palmas. Now I was like, I wonder what that is. And I googled it, and it's just clapping. It's like your hands, palmas. Isn't that interesting? So it's just clapping because this album is based in the Latin jazz realm, and specifically within that subgenre would be flamenco jazz, which is based out of like southern Spain. So that's the music that this album comes from. So there are 9 tracks. We have De Camino, Procedencia, La Tumbona, Poinciana, Corvedella, Run and Go Tell in English, Straighten Up, Reality versus Myth, Romance Anonimo, and Spanish Life. And it's kind of cool on the back of this album, he kind of writes what each of those styles specifically are. Track of the week, I'll say right away, is Spanish Life. It's the last one on there. I especially loved Stuart Mindeman's performance on this whole album. He's great, the piano player, absolutely fantastic. Now I was a little confused because it sounds to me on track 8, Romance Anonimo, it sounds to me like a cello, but it must be acoustic bass starting it out really high on there. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this album. I did learn something about Greg Duncan though, is that he opened for Benny Golson at the Riverfront Jazz Festival. I was reading on his website, and I helped run the jazz festival, that same jazz festival, because it happens in Stevens Point over the past 2 years. So he came through Stevens Point at some point. I don't think while I was here. So not in the past 2 years, I don't think, unless I just don't remember him. But it's a pretty good album. I'll be honest though, nothing really jumped out at me. I wouldn't say like this album changed my life or anything, and I mean it's it's a good album, especially if you're working on like Latin jazz stuff or you enjoy listening to that kind of stuff, but nothing really struck me as I was listening to it. I've been listening to it over the past few days, just kind of cycling through it, and you know, I'm just like, he's a great player and it's all really good, but nothing really hooked me in, I guess, on this album. So it's a nice album. I recommend you check it out at least. It is on Spotify, so definitely listen there. The album, like as far as purchasing it goes, there's not any album notes or anything really on here, so I guess I can't really recommend purchasing the album unless you just want the physical copy of it. But yeah, not much else to say about this one. It's cool. He has his own Latin jazz orchestra, it looks like. You can read more about him and what he does on his website. He looks like a really great player, and he does some different things around the Chicago area as well. So feel free to check him out a little more if you're interested. As I said, all links are below. Next week, we're going to look at Rex Richardson. Rex is a great guy. I had the opportunity to meet him a few years ago. He was at Stevens Point for the Wisconsin Trumpet Guild Convention. One of the best trumpet players as far as classical and jazz is concerned. I think he's one of the best who can do both at a really, really high level. So we're going to be specifically looking at this album, Bugles Over Zagreb, the music of Doug Richards, and he's playing with the Croatian Radio Television Jazz Orchestra. So this will be a cool album. I don't think it's on Spotify anymore, so I think you have to purchase this. But that's what we'll be taking a look at next week. So I don't have anything else to say. If you like the video, please give me a big old thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you never miss another video with me. Comment below any future albums you want me to check out, any ways I can make this better. Do you want me to be more informative? Blah, blah, blah. Let me know, and I will see you next week.